you're watching this, you've likely experienced the diet death spiral. You find a new extreme protocol, you cut your calories in half, sometimes even eliminate entire food groups, and you'll lose 12 pounds in 2 weeks. You feel unstoppable. Then life happens. A stressful week at work, a family dinner, or sheer exhaustion just breaks you down. Within 6 months, those 12 pounds are back, plus 5 more for good measure. Most people trying to lose over 30 pounds think their problem is a lack of willpower. It isn't. Your problem is strategy. You're trying to use a sprint tactic for a cross-country marathon. Research from the National Weight Control Registry, which tracks thousands of people who've successfully kept off significant amounts of weight, shows a startling reality. The people who win long-term are almost never the ones who shock their system with a 30-day blitz. They're the ones who are consistently making the small, doable changes to their eating and their movement habits over time. Today, we're going to talk about ending the cycle. I'm going to show you how to build a physiological environment where your body actually cooperates for weight loss instead of fighting it every step of the way. So let's first talk about the biological trap of total restriction. Why do extreme diets fail 95% of the time? It's called metabolic adaptation. When you drop your calories too low, too fast, your body doesn't think you're getting shredded for summer. It thinks you're starving in a famine. Your brain responds by increasing the hunger hormone and lowering your metabolic rate. You become colder, more tired, and hungrier. This is why rapid weight loss feels like a constant battle against your own biology. You might lose the first 15 pounds on pure adrenaline, but you're going to hit a wall because you've triggered your survival mechanism. Sustainable weight loss, the kind that stays gone for 5, 10, and 20 years, requires a different framework. We need to move the needle just enough to trigger fat loss, but not enough to trigger a biological red alert. The foundation of the American winning machine approach to weight loss is the precision deficit framework. To lose 30 pounds and keep it off, we aren't looking for a starvation window. We're looking for a 500 to 750 calorie daily deficit. This is the sweet spot. It's large enough to result in a predictable 1 to 2 pounds of fat loss per week, but small enough that your hormones will remain stable. Think of it this way. A 500 calorie deficit is the equivalent of swapping a high calorie processed lunch for a protein dense whole food meal and taking a 20-minute walk. It's manageable, it's repeatable, and most importantly, it prevents the muscle wasting that often accompanies extreme dieting. According to the American Heart Association, preserving muscle mass is the single most important factor in preventing weight regain because muscle is your primary metabolic engine. Now let's talk about movement. One of the biggest mistakes people make when viewing exercise only as a way to burn calories in the moment is if you just diet, you lose weight, but your metabolism shrinks. If you combine moderate deficit with a minimum of 150 minutes of moderate activity per week, you are doing something far more powerful. You're signaling to your body to keep its muscle and maintain its metabolic furnace. Data from the National Weight Council Control Registry reveals that 94% of people who successfully kept their weight off over a year increased their physical activity significantly. They didn't necessarily become marathon runners, they became consistent movers. 150 minutes a week is just over 20 minutes a day. It's the baseline for longevity and the primary insurance policy against the weight coming back. So let's talk about the self-monitoring feedback loop. You might be thinking tracking food and steps sounds like a chore. I just want to know what to eat. Here's the hard truth. You cannot manage what you do not measure. And in the beginning, tracking isn't about being perfect. It's about building a self-efficacy loop. When you log your food and your movement, you're creating a new neural pathway. You're moving from mindless consumption to conscious choice. Research shows that people who keep food diaries lose double the weight of people who don't. Why? Because the log provides the data, and the data removes emotion. When the scale doesn't move one morning, the person who doesn't track panics and they quit. The person who tracks looks at their data. They see they've been in their 500 calorie window and realizes it's just water retention. They stay the course. The tracker wins because they have the evidence to remain calm. I know the objection that's forming in your mind right now. But if I only lose 1 pound a week, it's going to take me 7 months to lose 30 pounds. That's too slow. I want you to really hear me on this. Those 7 months are going to pass anyway. You can spend those 7 months cycling through 3 different 30-day challenges, losing and gaining the same 10 pounds over and over, ending up exactly where you are now, frustrated and heavier. Or you can spend those 7 months making the incremental baseline shift. At the end of that period, you won't just be 30 pounds lighter. You'll have a completely different set of habits. You'll be a person who moves 150 minutes a week. You'll be a person who understands energy balance. You won't be on a diet anymore. You will simply be a person who lives a lifestyle that keeps them lean. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. So what's the path to a 3 to 5% initial victory? Your goal right now isn't the full 30 pounds. Your goal is the first milestone, a 3 to 5% reduction in body weight. According to the American Heart Association, the initial 3 to 5% is where the most significant health gains happen. It lowers blood pressure, it improves insulin sensitivity, and reduces inflammation. More importantly, it proves to your brain that the system works. Once you hit that 5% mark, using a sustainable method, you now have a blueprint, and you just keep repeating the process until you hit your 30, 40, or 50 pounds. So let's talk about the next 72 hours. We do not believe in vague intentions in this program. We believe in tactical execution. Your first step towards a permanent 30-pound transformation starts today. Step 1, establish your baseline. For the next 3 days, I want you to track everything. Every bite of food, every minute of movement, your hours of sleep. Don't try to be perfect, just be honest. You need to see where you're starting from so you can decide where you're going. Step 2, the rule of 1. After those 3 days, look at your data and choose one specific, achievable habit to change. Maybe it's replacing 1 soda with 1 water. Maybe it's a 10-minute walk after dinner 3 times a week. Maybe it's ensuring you get 7 hours of sleep. Just pick one thing and master it for 1 week. Then stack on the next thing. You aren't just losing weight, you're building a machine. Get your baseline, pick one habit. I'll see you in the next lesson. Let's win.